Gotham Knights is a great game. That's what you wanted to hear, right? Well, it is. It's a great game, and I'm here to tell you why. Before I do, I just want to state the obvious and say that the game has had a rough launch, with some valid reasonings for it, honestly, such as the 30 FPS situation. However, performance aside, which I will talk about later in the review, the game is very fun for a lot of different reasons. And this is coming from a veteran superhero game player, if you even want to call me that. It just sounds kind of weird, but I've played the Arkham games hundreds of times, and I've played a bunch of other superhero games many times, like Spider-Man PC, or PS4, and they came on to PC, and so on. So this review is coming from someone that isn't influenced by anyone or anything. I'm not, it's not my job to review this game, I'm not some big head in a corporation that is paid to make this game, say good things about this game, so keep that all in mind. This is an honest review from someone who's really into this genre, and if you're interested in playing this game, you'll have my full thoughts on it and why I think you should buy it. So, without further ado, let's just get started. I first want to talk about the gameplay, because I feel like the gameplay is the most important aspect of any video game, honestly, to a lot of people, at least for me, because that's where all the fun lies. So, just to start off, the gameplay is fun. I think it's really fun. Definitely not perfect, but I just want to talk about it. So, the gameplay is really fun for a multitude of reasons, because to start off, it's really addicting, alright? There's a loop into the game, which I'll get into when I talk about the overworld and talk about Gotham, but it's very addicting with its RPG-like elements. There's a lot of looting in the game. There's chests everywhere. Whenever you take out enemies, there's loot drops, leveling up, and it just keeps you wanting to go keep playing more. You keep fighting this next mission, and you go on in the overworld and fight another mission. You start a bomb threat, you stop a kidnapping, you stop people trying to rob a bank. It's really cool, and it's really seamless, and you just snap right into it, It has that addicting RPG-like aspect where if you get into the swing of things, and the progression system, just keeps rewarding you for, searching out through this game and fighting out these little crimes and these bigger crimes, and it's really enjoyable. And then which leads to the combat. So the combat in this game is also pretty fun. I made a video about it, and that why I think it's completely different from the Arkham games, and I still stand by that. So the combat, while not having a counter system, it's still very deep in terms of how it's played. So you have your standard light attack, but then you can dodge. Outside of dodging, you have your momentum abilities, which are pretty much like special moves. For example, Nightwing does a pounce on people. Robin twirls his staff around really fast and gets a lot of damage on an enemy, which I think is one of my favorites. All these kind of aspects really just combine to help build a deeper level of combat. If you dodge at the perfect time right before they hit you, you perform a perfect dodge, and then if you press the attack button right before or after you perform a perfect dodge, you get a strong attack in. It has elements like that, which makes you kind of really stand on your toes and really make sure that you're playing and you're paying attention, because comparing it to the Arkham games, when you get hit in that game, it's not a big deal. And in the Arkham games, when you're really good at the combat, you can take out a swarm of enemy in seconds. In this game, it takes a little bit longer to take out a group of enemies, but it feels a lot more rewarding, Once you take out a group of enemies in this game, it feels like you earned it, and I think that's a really rewarding element for the combat in this game. I was a little skeptical about it because of how slower paced it is, and it is slower paced, but I think it just adds to that rewarding system to the game where you feel like you earned winning a fight. Whereas in Arkham Knight, I just feel like I was super strong at every point in the game once I got good at it, which is a good thing. I fucking love Arkham Knight, but Gotham Knights' combat is really fun, really good. I would say that it does have some issues. Sometimes I feel like it could be a little clunky with trying to target the person you want to attack. Maybe sometimes moves just don't feel as strong as they should. And the slower pace can turn people off. But I think the pros outweigh the cons. I don't think the combat is terrible in any way. Especially that you can upgrade your skill trees, which I will be talking about later, to be able to perform different types of attacks, which makes it a lot more enjoyable. But the combat, it really deepens outside of that. The game really rewards you for being able to learn how to play, learn how to fight. There's a lot of different types of enemies where they force you to make or use different types of attacks, so that way you're not just using the same thing over and over again. and I think that's really great for this kind of game. As far as the skill trees go in the game, they're really interesting. So everyone has 3 skill trees. For example, Nightwing has a skill tree where his projectiles can get increased, or Robin has a skill tree where his stealth can be increased, because he's a stealthy character. They all add to the different kind of character you want to play, and I think that's really interesting. I mean, for Nightwing, for example, right? Nightwing has really good ally abilities, so if you're playing co-op with a friend, he has a lot of abilities where they just help give your partner buffs, and give you buffs at the same time, like damage buffs or defense buffs. But if you want to play a more stealthy character, you want to play Robin, because Robin has a good stealth in the stealth tree, and because of this, it just kind of adds to the character you want to play as. It's really cool because there are 4 characters and they all level up at the same time. So say if you level up Nightwing to level 5, all your characters are level 5, so you can switch in between them, and your Red Hood will be level 5, your Robin will be level 5, or your Batgirl will be level 5. It's really cool because it's a time saver. You don't want to start with one character at level 1. And they all get the same skill tree points, and you can upgrade them to however you want. I will say a negative, though, about the game is that you can't reset your skill points. So whatever you upgrade in a character is permanent, and you can't revert it back, which is really dumb. Because a lot of games like this where they have skill trees allow you to respec your points, like Borderlands. So it's just really weird how you can't respect your skill points. It's in case you mess up, in case you have an upgrade you don't want anymore, in case you want to test other builds in a character. It's something that I feel is really overlooked and something that they should definitely add in later, which I think they very well can. They should add it later. But yeah, that's a negative about that aspect that I don't really like. But other than that, I think the skill trees are really interesting because you get to make the kind of character you want to do. Like personally for Robin, I was upgrading his stealth skill tree because he could take out big enemy like brutes instantaneously, and he can also grapple enemies from a gargoyle, kind of like the Arkham games, and which is really fun. It's really cool to see. It's just visually pleasing too, so it really caters to what kind of character you want to play as. And just leading into the stealth aspect of the game, I think stealth is a lot more rewarding in this game because you take out enemies in one hit, whereas if you have to fight somebody, it's not as fast as the Arkham games or the Spider-Man games where you can take out enemies really fast. So it's something that you want to realize when you're going into the game, that maybe that you want to be a stealthy character because you can take out enemies faster. And because of this, you build a character around it, and it's really just great. I think it all works out seamlessly, and I think it's just really fun. The next thing I want to talk about is Gotham. Gotham City in this game is beautiful. It's dark, it's gritty, it's really big compared to Arkham Knights' Gotham City. And it actually has civilian life, which is pretty interesting to see. Every character has their own way of traversing too. Like Nightwing has his Fortnite glider, and Robin has his teleportation, which are all pretty interesting ways of traveling. Everyone can grapple and use their bikes to get around too, which is great. I love that the game has objects in the overworld that you can scan that helps to build the overworld. Scanning a piece of paper on a table lets you know something about the Cobblepot's winery back in the 1800s. It's really cool, and it really builds to the universe, making you think that there was a universe that existed before the game even came out. There's a lot of cool Easter eggs too, and anyone with a good eye can catch them. Overall, I think the Gotham City in this game is really well done, and there's a ton to explore. In this game, there's crimes going on all the time, all over the city. They do get repetitive once you do them a lot, because some of them are just the same, but there's still enjoyment in them in the sense that you can, change characters and just playing with the new abilities you get. It really just adds to just the combat. The missions are there to serve just, you playing and getting in that fighting in, which is really cool. I don't know. It's just really, you'll know what I mean when you play it. It's just really fun to play, especially in co-op mode, which is my next topic. Co-op mode. So co-op mode is really fun in this game, no joke. The fact that you can just play with a friend and traverse the entire Gotham, when you're your friend can be on one side of the map while you're on the other, and you guys can finish objectives twice as fast. It's insane. And it's all so seamless and really cool. I know I say seamless a lot, but it just really fits in a lot of these sentences I'm saying. But yeah, co-op mode's really good in this game. You get to play all the missions together. You can just go over the overworld together and complete objectives twice as fast. It just makes for a way more entertaining experience. And I feel like people don't talk about this enough, but I think co-op here is extremely well done, and it should be commended. I think it was a good job. and if you have a friend to play with, you definitely should be playing with them. The next thing I want to talk about is the story. So, the story, without giving away spoilers, I think is really interesting. Because for once, we get a story without the Joker being involved, and it's well done. Which I'm glad, because there's a lot of Batman stories to tell without the Joker that are very interesting, like this one. They did a great job incorporating the Court of Owls and fleshing out their whole story with them in the game. The intro alone in Gotham Knights will have you hooked. And with that being said, the voice acting is where it could be kind of... It's ass. The voice acting is not that good, I'm not gonna lie. Some of it feels like they didn't know the situation the character was in, and they kind of just phoned in the lines with the script. But other times it feels good. Like, I think the character interactions in the game are really interesting to see. They add in specific one-on-one character moments that I think are really well done to make the game feel more immersive and makes you like care more about the characters.
I bet I could stay up here all night.
Sure you can.
Dick? Dick! I was an acrobat, you know.
Fine, you can sit. But you have got to shut up.
Honestly, it's kind of hard to do that in a game with 4 main characters, so I feel they did a good job here. The story is a little too short for my taste, though. I feel like it should have been longer with what we had. And like I said, the voice acting could have been better, but I think it was well done overall, especially with the intro to the game. But as far as negatives go, here we go. So, there's a little bit to talk about. First of all, the performance. The game only runs at 30 FPS on consoles, and it's not even like a smooth 30 FPS. It's unacceptable in 2022, in my opinion, and it definitely takes away from the game. There's a lot of like frame drops, frame rates. I'm sure you guys have seen all about it. It's been memed on. It's, deserved it, because 30 FPS is really dumb. The performance, even on PC, at least from my experience, is just overall really bad. I've had a ton of game crashes already that often happen like on loading screens or just mid-game. Like, what the fuck? I feel like the menus are too clunky too in the game. This is outside the performance. Performance is really bad, but the menus in the game, when you're going through crafting menus and upgrading menus, it all just feels too clunky. And I feel like I'm overwhelmed by all the mods you get in the game. Like mods boost your like character's defense and attack and stuff. There's so many in the game. That's just an example to give. Like, and it just feels like too much going on in the menus to like kind of organize everything. There's a lot of texture pop-ins overall. That just goes along with their performance issues. Missions can also get really repetitive, like I said earlier. You're doing the same missions a lot in the overworld, quite a bit. And they're still fun, but it's just, I don't know, you get tired of it overall. And I think the game just needed a little bit more time to be polished to fix these issues. If I think they fixed them, it would have gotten a much better reception from other, people. But yeah, performance issues, the menus in the game, like crafting and such, seems a little too convoluted. Voice acting is a little stupid too. And the missions can also get repetitive. I think those are like the big issues with the game right now that they need to like fix. Overall, I think Gotham Knights is a great game though, filled with like a lot of exciting aspects that'll make anyone who's a fan of like series like this, like Arkham series, happy to play. I personally love how the characters interact with one another and how the game is really focused on gameplay over anything else. If I had to give the game a score out of 10, I would say an 8. For me, it's an 8. I could see how it would be like a 7 for other people. I just think it's really fun, but the performance issues hinder it a lot. And I think that needs to be addressed. But I think overall the game, since I'm a big fan of gameplay, it really is just addicting to just, progress your character and play with other characters and play with your friends. There's a lot to go with the bang for your buck here, and I truly believe it is an 8 out of 10. I think it's a great game. Not perfect by any means, but a fun and good game, and I recommend it. And yeah, that's my review of Gotham Knights. So if you enjoyed it, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think, and let me know of any critiques I could have done in an interview, any critiques I could have done in this review, or maybe something I missed. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Bye, people.